name's Ross.
I'm Devin. And I'm Jake from The Burden, and this is Antihero Online.
The band just released their EP, The Presence of the Past Tense, February 28th. When you guys kind of went into the studio, what were you thinking? What did you guys want to achieve creatively with this record?
I think in contrast to our first full length there, we wanted to just push our certain, like the heaviness that we do a little more heavy, and then get the pop elements that we captured on the last record and push those further as well. So kind of bring the balance into more of a concentrated place rather than all over the place.
And what did you guys kind of take away from the first EP, the Modern Disease?
Modern Disease was a huge learning experience, I think. We did a lot of growing while doing that.
We went through two members while we were recording that album. Two bassists.
Yeah. Actually, Ross joined right after the recording process of that, so he got to kind of join in and learn the songs on bass, and he was the first bassist to essentially play and represent that album, but he didn't actually record on it, so it was a neat thing having an outside perspective coming in to join the band kind of post-recording, and there was a lot of good things we learned from that. I mean, we started doing small tours off that record and just watching even those songs grow to now. Like, there's some definite crowd favorites when we play those songs live, and we're still really proud of that record, but we definitely think we've grown a lot with this new EP.
And Ross, what was it kind of like coming into the band after they had already recorded a record?
It was interesting, for sure. When I first met the guys, they brought me over to the studio and they sat me down and kind of just showed me all the stuff that they had and kind of sort of left it with me and like, what do you think? And I really liked it. So it was a cool experience getting to just kind of sit down and learn all the songs and then take them and translate them to a live experience.
And with the new record, was that kind of an opportunity to give your own flair to the sound of the bass? I know with playing it live, you're kind of limited to playing something that someone else wrote. Was this your real opportunity to kind of shine a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of our first experience for, all four of us in the band to have our first chance to really write together. Because like Jake said, when they did Modern Disease, they went through a couple of bass players, and none of the bass players actually ended up tracking anything on the album.
I actually tracked the bass.
Jake tracked all the bass, so it was all fairly straightforward stuff, and it was just following basic rhythms and following basic patterns. And so it was awesome for us, the four of us, as we were writing the new EP, to kind of give it its own sort of a different sort of life, and for me to be able to sit down and as we're tracking bass for it, find spaces for the bass to kind of shine a little bit more and just be a little bit more interesting. So yeah, it's definitely, that's one of the ways that the EP definitely was a progression over Modern Disease.
Yeah, we tracked the bass, Ross and I together, and we kind of collaborated on a lot of the parts, which was cool because it's actually really tough, like in a jam space, to write all the final parts, and it's a lot easier to write guitars and bass when you have the drums laid down and you can actually listen back in real time how it works with all the parts. So it was cool to rewrite a lot of stuff and push it forward in this on this EP.
And we're talking about the writing process a little bit. What type of lyrical content did you guys want to bring to the song, or to the songs themselves? Were there specific experiences that you guys had that influenced some of the songs, or was there kind of some outer forces that had an impact on the songwriting?
Actually, post-Modern Disease, we all went through some pretty dark times between like deaths in the family, just general depression. I mean, I've been in spaces and unemployment and losing jobs and losing motivation and just being depressed altogether. It's a lot about thematically growing up, just a lot to do with mental health. Like a lot of the songs are to do with giving up, but trying to find light. Like there's always the hope in the end. And I think I kind of captured a lot of our experiences without intentionally writing, like targeting a certain experience or this and that. It's a lot to do with just having a bad time in life in general. And I think a lot of people can relate with things like depression and I mean, even things like self-pity, feeling sorry for yourself. I think a lot of people will grab onto that sort of topic. So I like to write in those directions because, I mean, pop music already sings all the happy songs. So I think people come to our kind of genre of music to get more depth out of their music. And I think that we kind of cater to that, which I'm really proud of.
Yeah, I love hearing that. And since you talked about, you know, the dark parts of life and depression and kind of dealing with your own like mental health issues, since the passing of Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell, it seems like mental health has started to come to the forefront of conversations a little bit more, and it kind of gave an opportunity for a lot of musicians to talk about something that was a bit taboo before. Is that kind of the same feeling that you guys have when you went and started writing this record?
Absolutely. I think, you know, being in a spotlight, not like we're in a big spotlight, but I can see in Chester's perspective or Chris Cornell's, like, you can be on top of the world one record, next record comes out, and people don't latch on to it the way you hope they would, and you go from being the hero to the zero, essentially. So I think that a little bit of, you know, silver linings that can come of this terrible situation is people are taking it more seriously. I think we're in a weird generational gap where an older generation believes that it's grow up and get over it and, you know, go for a walk because that cures depression, when there's literal physical ailments from things like depression and just mental health in general. I know, you know, I have self-esteem issues. I think a lot of people out there do. And people are finally taking that stuff seriously and not, you know, doing cop-outs like stop being a wuss about stuff like that. And people are, you know, taking it for what it is rather than turning it into something it's not.
Yeah, I think there's a much more open platform for it now. And I know our genre has always been very open and very public about that kind of thing. But even for just individuals within bands, I think it's even better now too, because, you know, you look at bands, you know, they pour so much into what they do to, you know, give the audience and the fans something that they can connect with. But I think, you know, you look at some of the tragic deaths that have happened, and there hasn't been the place for the bands themselves to be really open about it, I think. And I think that's become a lot more accepted now. That it used to be so much that, you know, you would idolize the members in your favorite bands because they looked like they were living the dream and they had it all together, and, you know, they're the rock stars that have it figured out.
Or could they be depressed kind
of
situation? Yeah.
But now it's more acceptable. Like, it's okay to stand up there and say, like, look, I'm the same as the rest of you. I struggle with this stuff.
It really humanizes artists in general. I mean, even if you look at the death of even Robin Williams a couple of years ago, he went from being seemingly, you know, the happiest guy out there. He makes everyone laugh. He's got his fame, he's got his fortune, but it just goes to show that mental health doesn't discriminate. You could have it all, but still feel empty inside. And I think that that's a big takeaway from this whole situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys touched on a lot of great things right there. And I think being able to deliver that message through music is very important, especially, like you said, with the generational gap and the fact that it seems like our generation struggles more with mental health and the need to be understood that a walk isn't going to go and fix it.
Absolutely.
So kind of moving forward, let's talk about the band's first single, "Moving Pictures," off of the record.
All right, yeah, for sure.
How did
actually,
you?
Moving Pictures was. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go for it.
I was just gonna say, Moving Pictures was actually last minute. Yeah, we wanted to release the Search for Solace first, and actually we were working with Dreambound, and they asked if we'd be willing to do Moving Pictures. So literally the day before we debuted the first single, it was switched to Moving Pictures.
And how did you guys kind of find the balance between the brutal vocals and then the more softer, melodic, poppier vocals?
I think we all grew up on certain bands like Olexyn on Fire, Glassjaw, stuff like that had that melodic and heavy balance. And I think we're not shooting out to like reinvent the wheel. We just kind of want to capture what we grew up on. Honestly, I think a lot of music nowadays is kind of recycled, but we're in a weird place musically where a lot of stuff sounds the same, and I'd rather sound like 15 years ago than right now.
Yeah.
So we kind of we took a lot of inspiration from bands we grew up listening to, and definitely we just want to make music that we'd love to listen to if it wasn't by us.
And talking about those influences, what are your major influences for the band?
I think the main one would have to be Under Oath. And then we all kind of take from our own individual taste from there. But Under Oath seems to be the big one that we keep coming back to.
I think the cool thing about us is we're actually really diverse musically. Like, I mean, we all come in like common grounds with some music, like Under Oath. But like personally, I don't listen to a whole lot of heavy music nowadays. Like, I mean, I grew up on it and I love playing it. But I listen to like artists like Bright Eyes and even just like sadder chill stuff compared to energetic heavy. But I still have great ties to that type of genre that we play. Ross loves heavy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, when I, as a young, preteen started getting into music, it was kind of like I had friends show me a couple of like sort of rock bands, and then one of my gateway bands was POD, and then sort of hearing that music could be more aggressive, it could be heavier. It was kind of sort of almost a gateway drug for me, and I just started heavier and heavier bands, and my tastes swung way into death metal and deathcore, and they still do for a long time. A lot of hardcore, and it's my range has broadened since then. But that's kind of sort of the foundation that I grew up listening to. So
same here, pretty much.
For me, like my individual preferences is definitely more pop punk, easycore range. The first CD I ever owned was Still Not Getting Any by Simple Plan. That definitely forged the way for my taste in pop punk. It's grown to Knuckle Puck, A Day to Remember, kind of the more happier sounding sad stuff.
Yeah, like Devin was the soft stuff, I was the middle ground, and Ross was the heavy. So
and same with Rob, our other guitarist. He grew up listening to like a lot of classic rock,
like
and
Slayer
heavy
and
metal,
Megadeth.
the original classic stuff, and so.
Yeah, it's the influence from his dad.
Yeah, and then I showed him Under Oath, and it was game over from there.
Yeah.
Oh, God, you guys kind of dated yourselves right there with the POD comment.
Yeah, I know.
Ross is the band grandpa.
I'm the band grandpa. I'm definitely the oldest in the band.
Oh, God, I haven't heard anything from them since, maybe 2003.
I think we should keep it that way.
Yeah, we probably should.
I think a year or two ago.
Yeah. And there's a reason we didn't hear it.
Yeah.
So, with the new record, is there an opportunity for you guys to be hitting any shows, tour cycles, anything coming up that you guys are going to get on the stage and kind of give the fans the new record?
Oh, totally. I mean, we're not writing off any tour plans. Just, feasibility for it right now is a little tough. We're kind of waiting for some, backing and stuff on this record. At this point, it's really hard to tour. Like, we'd love to tour the States and stuff, but being from Canada makes it a really tough go. But definitely, we're gonna be doing some tours in Canada, Western Canada there. We actually have a show this Saturday. It's our first show since the EP released, and it's near sold out, so that's really exciting.
Nice.
It's in Kelowna, BC here, which actually is where our producer's from, so it's going to be really neat having him there at the first show, showing off this new stuff.
And what are you guys kind of looking forward to the most about bringing the new songs out and performing them to the fan base?
Definitely just the energy that these songs have. It's been really cool sort of transitioning from having spent hours upon hours playing these songs over and over just to get them, perfect for tracking and recording. But now that we've actually been taking the time to put together our set list and plan out, how these songs are going to sit in a live show with mixing them with some of the old songs from Modern Disease. I think we were honestly a little bit surprised. We surprised ourselves a little bit with the energy that they have.
Absolutely. I think going into these songs, honestly, recording them, we've had like such a large batch of songs that we've been working on over the past 2 years. The earliest demos of these songs actually were tracked before Modern Disease even came out. It was kind of like right when Ross joined the band. So we were a little burnt out on these songs, but we kind of pushed on them. We have a batch of new songs, and we were going to put out a full record, but we kind of thought these songs stand well on their own. So we went ahead and tracked them, and the amount that they've changed over the past 2 years and kind of morphed into what they are today.
And the back and forth too, trying different parts, it's been
absolutely. It's been tiring. So like, I mean, even when Moving Pictures dropped, the response and the feedback for it has been like overwhelmingly positive. Modern Disease didn't really get that sort of attention, so it's really cool to finally have some backing and people paying attention, and especially all the positivity surrounding it. People tend to latch onto these songs, which is really cool. Just messages we've got from fans and supporters just talking about, how the lyrics, they love the lyrics, they love the songs, that they're really excited about this stuff. I know, like, personally, me live, like, being the vocalist, obviously, having people sing the parts back is overwhelming at times. Like, last time we played Kelowna, there's a song on Modern Disease called Love and Loss, and I don't even need to sing it because that city, for some reason, absolutely loves that song. So I'm really excited to see if these new songs kind of get their turn to be those songs live. So, I'm really excited to bring them to the stage and see what, the response is in a live setting.
Now, the last question that I got for you is, what is the music scene like up there in northern BC?
I mean, it's totally like touch and go. It's hit or miss. Places like Kelowna, we actually surprised ourselves. We played it a couple times, and it was really fun shows. Not huge turnouts, but really fun shows. But we just love going there, and we have a lot of friends there. So places like Kelowna, which is a little bit south to us, it's really, really awesome. People go to shows to have fun. I know that there's some scenes out there where, people go for their best friend's band and then leave after they play, or they don't pay attention to any of the other bands if their best friend's band's headlining. I find northern BC, even Prince George, like where we're from, even if we have a small turnout, people give a shit, which is awesome. People love the music, and they're not just there to be cool. Like, it's not just something to do. They're there because they love live music. So I love our music scene, and I think it's continuing to grow, which is really neat. It's been kind of dead here in our local area in terms of local bands playing stuff, in our genre at least. But I definitely am excited to see where it can go from here.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that's actually the last few years that has made it tough, trying to build momentum in our hometown, is that we're one of the only active bands in our genre up here.
Oh God.
The heavy metal scene is huge up here,
and the rap scene.
But it's a total divide. It's
it's night and day difference in the kind of people that are into it.
We're like wussy metal, and they're like chug beer and take shots kind of metal. So like we don't jive well.
We got invited to play last summer to open up like a metal festival in one of the small towns near here, and it was pretty funny because we were not well received.
We were the first band on a heavy festival, and actually mid-set, I mean, everyone's just crossing their arms and like rolling their eyes at us. It was awesome. Even though I tried to make every scream I did even heavier, like make it like actually sound like we're a happy band. And I said, "Move, this is a metal show." And a guy rolled his eyes and he said, "I thought it was a metal show." So I don't know. I really like our scene. I don't really latch onto that scene because I don't think they're a very accepting bunch of people.
Yeah, there's definitely certain sections of people that are very cliquey about their music, but the people that are into our music in our area, even though it is quite a small fan base, they're very passionate and they're very supportive.
Absolutely.
Y'all are going to have the metal purists everywhere anyway. I mean, it doesn't matter. You could be the next coming of Metallica, and they'll be like, "Man, you're not Metallica."
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cringy how people can be that pigeonholed into what they like and what they can accept. But I don't know. I find us all music lovers, and I appreciate that all about our band. Like our shuffle when we go on tours is pretty wild. Our playlist.
Hell yeah. That's pretty much
man.
everything that I got for you guys. Is there anything that I left off that you would like to add?
Well, I mean, Presence of Past Tense is out now. We're pressing some cassettes of it, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, I wish we could do CDs, but we're broke musicians. We have a friend who hooks up the cassettes, and he is amazing. His name's Levi from Faithless Youth.
We love you, Levi.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's literally the nicest guy. Like, he refuses to let us pay for these cassettes. Like, he's the best. Yeah, so, I mean, it's out everywhere now.
You can get it on, you can listen to it on Spotify, Google Play, Apple.
We seriously appreciate every stream, every post. Yeah, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for doing this interview for us. This really gets the word out. And yeah, we're really excited for the future about this. We're working on a batch of new songs now, actually, already. And we're hoping to track some more stuff by the end of the year.